Hi everyone, you're listening to the Vialiucci podcast, uncensored and completely unedited discussions about life and everything in it. We hope you enjoy the show.
You're enjoying the music?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not big.
And Charles's dulcet tones.
Yeah, hello to Charles if he's listening.
He probably is somewhere.
Hi, Charles.
I've forgotten Isla.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isla.
Most people say it wrong.
What do they say?
They say like
Isla.
Isla. Something
Oh God,
like
even I wouldn't do
Yeah,
that.
but surely
It's
with
okay,
Isla Fisher.
but I did like leave it with one of my directors. I just let him call me it because I didn't say it fast. Like I didn't have
Yeah,
the
and
gap
it gets
was too small,
embarrassing.
and I was just really like I'm really like socially awkward in that way. So I was like, oh, it's too late, and then I left it like a month, and then I said, by the way, and then he just couldn't.
It's so funny you say that. I was listening to one of those early Ricky Gervais shows when he's on like XFM.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how when he was younger, he used to go to the pub and the bloke, the landlord, kept calling him Steve. And he said it was a bit of a villainy pub. He said, I liked all that sort of stuff. And he said, but I was so young. He said, I didn't say anything. And he said it went on for about 2 years until, unfortunately, he was in a pub with someone else. And he went, Steve. And he went, what are you calling him Steve for? And he went, his name's Steve. And he went, no. He said, oh, your name not Steve? And he went, no. And he said, but I've been calling you Steve for 2 years. And he went, have you?
But there's just like a window of
there's a window of time before.
of time that you can like literally mere seconds. That you can
I
correct,
think it's
and
better to
was
nip
just
it in the
gone.
bud for everyone's sake. Go, look, by the way, you just pronounced my
I
name wrong,
normally
and it's
do,
fine.
but I just for some reason I was like, nope, I can't.
Where does the name
it's
Isla
gone.
come? Is that Irish or something?
I chose it.
Come on, so how did that happen?
So fun fact, everyone, little tidbit.
Yeah.
My birth name
Is
is
it a
Molly.
stage name?
No,
Oh,
it's
it's
legally.
yeah.
My birth name was Molly, and then I changed it. I started going by Isla when I was like 14, and then changed it when I was 16 before I went to. So
you hadn't, it's not like it's your middle name and you preferred it.
no.
It's just
Where did
chosen.
it come from?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just was there. I was like, yeah, my name's Isla. And everyone was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, how do you find...
I wonder if there's like some sort of regress, like something in a previous life. And you go, why are you calling me
Well,
Molly? My name's
I'm
Isla.
very spiritual anyway.
Right.
So there's a whole... We could go down a rabbit
So, and
hole
what
about
ages
that.
were you saying about that? 14 and 16, you said?
Yeah, because I went to uni early, 2 years early.
So what happened? When did it, the name, what made it?
I was
Film
14.
star you saw?
No, I was just kind of... so I just kind of wanted to separate who I was because I was very different when I was
Right,
younger.
yeah.
I had golden hair. Like, I looked completely different. I was just completely different person. And then when I was like 14, 15, I was like, I am not the same person anymore. Like,
That's fair enough.
this doesn't, like, calling me Molly just doesn't look right. It just doesn't make sense anymore.
The
So I was like,
branding doesn't work.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna rebrand, guys.
And who did you say to your mum and dad?
Oh, it was a really my mum was super offended.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, and I understand. Like when I was a bit of a brat about it because I was like, "How dare you? This is who I am." But no, I get it because
That's a weird thing for
And
a parent. not
so
to
why
do.
did they pick Molly then? Was that from family or-
Was it the
no,
gran or
I don't.
something?
Oh, it was because my mum had this pig. Yeah,
I'm understanding
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
Right.
I've just
So,
gone, there we go.
I can't remember the story, but there's something about a pig called Molly that she could
Right,
have or
yeah,
something. So
yeah,
now
yeah.
I'm Molly, and I was like, "Well,
Yeah.
thanks, Mum. That really
Yeah,
makes
I
me
think
want
we've
to
put
keep
that-
my
we've
name.
figured
out, I think.
Like, I really want to keep my name now
Yeah.
because obviously, who doesn't want to be named after a pig?
Yeah.
Like, it really
Also,
is-
Molly is very that's a little... In the same way...
very sweet. If I
Yeah.
was that, I'm really not. Like, look at me. Come on now. And my voice is so
Again, the
low. I'm like
branding
Batman,
didn't work.
so
It didn't fit the branding.
it just can't imagine
I
going
know.
Molly.
and you
Hi,
didn't,
I'm
why,
Molly
why
Hughes,
that
like-
name? No reason.
I don't know, but it makes sense. Like it.
Yeah.
Kind of suits you, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean...
And who was that name
Kinda.
you said? Isla, somebody you said?
Isla
there's an
Fisher.
actress, yeah.
Fisher.
Isla Fisher.
Yeah.
Fisher. What's...
So she is
She's
soap
in-
actress originally,
Yeah.
sorry. And then she's done quite a lot of...
Now
comedy.
You See Me.
Yeah,
she's
Now You
in.
See Me. She was in...
is that the magic films?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
She's in Blithe Spirit, which is a great film to watch. It's
Oh, really?
hilarious. Leslie Mann's in it as well.
Is
and
that quite new?
Yeah. I watched it a couple of months ago. It was on Sky Movies, so I don't know how it is, but it's new,
Okay.
relatively new. That's funny.
Right, so just to let everybody know.
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
So you're an actress. That's how you
Yes,
describe yourself.
That's me.
And before we were talking, I said to you we're going to stop talking about subject because there's something I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas we were talking about people that sort of don't know how to draw lines between in a role with somebody like a
Yeah.
romantic thing
Yeah.
and leaving that aside.
Yeah.
And various people that I think suffer with that. And you were about to say tell us about something that you did.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very unfortunate thing for a lot of actors, I think. Because as actors we become the character, a lot of us do anyway. It's not us in the moment. Like for me, Isla's checked out, she's gone on holiday, like the character is there, I'm renting out my brain, Airbnb, like I'm not there. So but it's hard for people to understand that that anything I do, especially when you have intimate scenes, kissing scenes, whatever, it's very hard for people to understand that you're not making those decisions and you're not the one kissing. Like it's nothing to do with you. So yeah, I had a situation. I was shooting something. I had to do a kissing scene, which, just another day at work, it didn't bother me. And there was just so clearly, I think this person was just a little bit inexperienced, but they just couldn't get the idea that what I was doing like wasn't me at all, and I could tell that the line was getting a bit blurry.
But what do you mean?
So they just
why?
I can't speak for this person. I've got to be very careful about how I say this. You
haven't said their name. You don't. So
we're all good. But I think there was definitely like some kind of personal feelings maybe there. I don't know.
After,
during, like
in between shoots, you mean?
Like in between, the shots and things.
Oh, really?
Not thinking about when cut is yelled that's it.
Yeah, and I did a lot of improv.
What are you, 10 years old? Like, it would like.
I mean, I'm for me, I can't even think like that when I'm on set because it's my job. I'm getting paid to do this.
That's what I mean. That's a fairly sort of naive.
Yeah,
silly...
but I think as actors, because we do completely like throw ourselves into it and get swept up in it, because that's the only way to make something believable is to believe it in the moment. So you sometimes, as you like can see, especially in Hollywood and things, you see a lot of it of people getting together in the heat of the moment during filming or just after filming because they've done a film that's really romantic or there's a lot of sexual chemistry and they have great chemistry as actors, and then there's a lot of confusion of, okay, am I attracted to the person or are they just attracted to the character and the feelings that they felt as the characters? And then it gets really twisted, and that's how things go downhill. That's why my rule is I will not get involved with anyone at work.
We were talking about Brad, what's his name?
Brad and Angelina.
What's his surname? Brad Pitt.
Yes.
And Angelina, and that you don't really want to start a relationship off with somebody that's in a marriage. Like,
I mean,
that's
It's not usually the best. It doesn't set the best precedent.
Even like without that element, that film, I've watched it and it's very like steamy, very loaded, very much. It's pretty much just like sex.
What's her name? Angelina. Is she with somebody now?
Not that I know of. We don't know.
She hasn't moved on to the next.
I mean, I'll happily volunteer as tribute because she is just like.
I haven't said. It's one of those things where I wouldn't want to see a picture of her now. Is it going to be one of those plastic surgery?
No. Oh my god.
Oh no, you said she's in her 40s.
She's gorgeous.
I imagine her being like 60 now.
She doesn't need plastic surgery. She is perfect.
I don't remember thinking she's attractive. She's got that fashion model attractive, which is not attractive to me. That bony. It's like the face attractive, and
quite. I'd say she's probably quite thinner now.
Yeah, no. When I was working in nightclubs, you'd have fashion models that would come in. They'd be like 5'11" minimum, and go, she's a model. She's just a skinny person. Like it's not an attractive look.
Yeah, but there's something. For
I think everyone.
Some people are attractive on camera. On the probably.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking that.
But it also works the other way around. Some people look like someone in a room will look really attractive, and then you see them on camera, you're like, oh, this is not.
I mean, lighting and hair and makeup and everything, like we don't.
Well, somebody did say to them, they said they're not really supposed to be attractive as such.
Okay, we're being shown a picture of her.
Guys.
No, that could be
no swooning.
No,
on air.
if I found her now and went up and took a picture, that's what it would look completely different to that. Completely different.
Well, yeah, people always look different.
I'm just going to sit in my own little bubble of like absolutely being in love with her. Like
but that doesn't work. Showing me that picture means nothing. That's just like a.
You want to see like a
all I see is a
hangover like picture to then really know what's going on here. Like,
I forgot what I was going to say.
I don't know.
Oh no, yes. So the guy was saying, he said they're fashion model. They're not supposed to be attractive. They're supposed to be clothes horses. They're actually supposed to look quite plain. Because they're advertising the clothes, they're not supposed to be that unique.
There's a lot of criteria into it. I remember reading something about how like they want clothes to hang. So even like how your shoulders are, like they need to be certain like square so that things hang right.
Is it the clothes horses?
There is no, like when people say, oh, I want to look like a model, I'm like, well, what kind of model? There's lots of models for all different clothes, because that's their job is to show clothes.
Yeah.
Like they're gorgeous.
I've
People
never
are gorgeous.
The fashion thing where you like the high end fashion, like on the clothes, and it's obviously something nobody's going to wear that. What's the point of that?
It's art.
Is it for sale? But you can buy those.
I think it's just it's kind of to do with the idea, isn't it? It's
like
and it's showing.
and
I think it's another form of expression, the same as.
But aren't they buying those clothes? Is that what it's for? It's like an auction.
No. Well, I mean,
not an
maybe
auction.
It depends. I think it's all different. Showing collections means that it's a lot of stuff is for the higher market. So for events and things, you'd want to buy the collection and things, like how a lot of people wear.
Right.
They say I'm wearing such and such.
But no, when you see somebody like that, they've got a 3-foot hat.
I mean,
that's
art. That's art.
But surely they're making money. What's the event for?
Well, they're just being paid.
Aren't they selling
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know the.
It's not to do
that's
with.
Something I'd want to learn. I think.
Is it not maybe to do with like the?
I mean, there's a lot.
Who
in
makes
the
the fashion clothes? What do you call them?
The designer.
Yeah, is it maybe something to do with they're selling their skills?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
it's like a painting. They're showing what they can do.
They get commissioned to do stuff for other events, and also like there's so much power in names in fashion in terms of money. So
could you be a branding thing? There's not like, oh yeah, I want to buy that. It might be
the stuff you see on the catwalk, people aren't buying that, but the idea is it's like, oh, this is the fabric, and these are the kind of cuts.
And this is what the person can do. Therefore, if they wanted to commission a dress for an event,
it's like a showpiece for your talent.
And then they just make a black dress.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's like a portfolio, I guess, but like a walking one.
So you're off to LA.
Maybe.
Wow.
Do you know what? I spoke to somebody the other day. She was in she's a presenter on Fox, and she's English. She's a fitness, and she's gone over there. So she's been over there for a while now. And I did say to her, I said, have you got any advice? Because now you've been living it. She's very nice, decent person. And she works for Fox, so she's in the thick of it. You know, the worst of the worst sort of thing. And I thought, have you got any advice? Like, just from somebody who's just coming, doesn't know anything, but other than I realised the time delay, so I haven't heard from her since. But I'll pass on the information when I get it back.
Please do.
But so what's the what are you thinking? Is it an agent thing? Is it a work thing? Is it what you?
It's a work thing.
But what I mean, what is it? What you're waiting for?
Just a yes or a no, essentially.
Right,
but you never hear a no. Yeah, it's
a job.
It's a job. It'd be a great job. I'd be very lucky. But yeah, there's not much I can say about it because it's literally like. But
you don't have to say any specifics. But
no, it'd be great.
It's an acting job.
An acting job,
for a film.
It'd be a series. Series lead, and I get to sing as well, which is a big part of my life as well. So I kind of get to do two things at once.
What type of music do you like? Don't say everything because that's obvious. But...
No. I mean, I grew up work-wise doing musical theatre since I was like 3 years old. So that's where my training and my expertise lie.
3?
Yeah.
I can't even remember being alive before 8, 9.
I've never not wanted to be an actor. Like I knew I came out of, I was born and I was like, yep, that's me. I'm ready. So
I was trying to get the lead from Phantom of the Opera. She's the first woman of colour to do it. I can't remember.
Yes.
Is this recently then?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
But I didn't hear back from us.
Phantom's great.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. So do you do musical theatre now?
So I still get auditions for it and things, but I mainly focus on the film side of things just because that's where my passions lie. It's what I enjoy work-wise more. But if I got the opportunity to do musical theatre, I definitely would. But I've been trained in musical theatre since I was very, very small. I went to drama school to do musical theatre.
Sylvia Young?
No.
No? Really?
No,
I thought that was everyone filtered through there.
I only went for uni level, so I went to the Brighton Academy.
Okay.
So that's why I was in Brighton living.
So where are you from? Are you from Brighton, or you
no?
moved there?
I'm from
where you are now.
Yeah, I'm from East Midlands.
Oh, okay.
Bedfordshire.
How long have you been in Brighton for?
2 years.
Oh, what do you like about Brighton?
Oh, there's always something to do.
The mix of everything.
Yeah.
Do you live near the town?
I've moved 5 times in the last 2 years. It was horrible. Like I have the thought of moving just breaks me out in sweats. I've lived in Preston Park. I've lived in Hove. So Hove's more removed from it.
Are these all within Brighton, these areas?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
right.
Preston Park is half in, half out. But Hove is like...
So would you describe Brighton as like London, or is it like a Camden size?
It's probably
it's more like
Brighton.
a more chilled out version of London, I guess. I think it's
But
like
I mean,
if London was
there's a
on
lot. I
weed.
always imagine it like it's only like 3 miles across, that sort of size.
I don't even know about size, but I mean, it's
I
a
don't
city,
know.
but it's.
I thought you were from Brighton.
Yeah, but I don't get the
Not even.
pedometer.
No, but I
out.
mean, is it like a London size thing?
No.
No.
So it's more like a small.
I guess it'd be
Finsbury
like the
Park,
size
Enfield.
of a borough. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Like that
okay.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So how far are you from the beach? Walk.
5 minutes.
Oh, great.
It was great. I love Brighton so
Is it
much.
shingle beach or sand? No, it's shingle.
Yeah.
Okay.
High tide though.
What does that mean?
Oh yeah,
When the sea's
we've had some really high tides recently, and
I
it's
don't know
like
what this
all
means. What do you
sand.
mean?
So when the sea goes out, when the
Yeah.
sea
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that high tide or low tide?
Oh,
I never remember which way
wait,
round it is.
low tide.
Is it low
If
tide?
it's out, it's
yeah,
got-
if it's out
yeah.
low tide, then particularly in Hove, you get sandy beach.
I love going to the beach in Hove. Don't go to the beach in Brighton.
Oh, because when it goes
can't
out,
sit
you've got the
down.
sand, and when it comes
Yeah.
in, you've only got the.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but Brighton Beach is always busy, especially at the moment. But Hove, it's like there's more peace.
Is there any parking in Brighton? I'm just a tour guide.
Parking in Brighton
Yeah.
is
How much do they charge
horrible.
between the?
Really?
Really?
It's an
Oh, forget it.
absolute
I'm
fault.
not
It's
getting
really
it.
anti.
How do you
It's
get
really
up
hard.
there? Do you get trains up there?
Yeah, just get trained there.
Oh, so you've just come from Brighton.
Yes.
So what's the train situation? If I was to leave here now and go to Brighton,
Take you like from here.
what's
you'd
the
have
main station?
Front.
to- either
London
Bridge or-
Victoria.
yeah, or London Bridge.
And what happens there?
It's like an hour.
Yeah.
One
hour.
train?
Yeah, direct.
To where?
You can go to Brighton or Hove, depending on which one's.
What's the one nearest the sea?
Brighton. I guess.
Brighton.
And I get out of that station.
You basically
Walk or
Walk
car?
straight down, literally.
Yeah.
Straight
Oh, really?
down.
Yeah, it can be if you get the fast train as well. It's like 50 minutes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that costs you.
It is quite expensive.
Go on.
About 35 quid, I guess. I don't know because I've
Yeah,
a rail
I've
card.
got
I have
a rail
yeah.
card as
Well, that's
well.
less than fuel. When you
Yeah.
say you've got a rail card, what do you mean by that?
So I have a 16 to 25 one, so I get a third off. My
Ah.
ticket prices.
I do not have a 16 to 25.
Yeah.
I just have the regular network one.
Yeah.
So what do you get off discount?
I think it's a third.
Yeah.
You basically
What if you pay
something
cash?
like 20.
I'm not getting
no,
a
you
ticket.
don't.
I'm not putting
No,
my
you
name
don't
on
know. They don't give you a discount for cash.
No.
It's not like a back
That's
alley.
not
No, I mean,
how it
what would it
is.
Someone
cost?
doesn't spend.
I mean,
It'd
what
still
would
be
it-
the same. Oh, you mean if you bought it
Yeah.
just without the
Is it
card?
just going to go up to like 70 quid or
No,
something?
No,
if you pay for like, I don't know, first class, then maybe.
Can you still
but-
pay cash
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes.
for now?
Maybe not on a machine, but I'm sure at,
Yeah.
at a ticket booth. you
Yeah.
would.
No,
I hate ticket
I know
booths,
how
so
much they
just
like to
like
track everyone,
the
so I'm
idea.
assuming that they're going to do away with the
We're
cash.
getting on a train, so I think they can track. There's CCTV, there's all of that.
Yeah.
They don't, I don't know why you're hiding. It's like
That is the worst argument. It's not.
Yeah, what are you going
What-
to Brighton to do?
What are you hiding from?
no.
Because
My,
you don't
no,
wanna
my
be
point
tracked?
is no. It's not that. I get that, and listeners of this podcast will have many ideas why Theo wants to hide. But my point is like the idea of like, oh well, I don't spend my thing. It just makes it easier to find you. That's all it. All you're doing is
Yeah.
cutting out you're saving 10 minutes off the search from their side.
That's very true.
No,
I like that
don't-
we're timing this. We're going to write this down.
I
We're
don't
going to.
believe that.
It's a new
Build a plan
TV
for you.
show.
the
Hunting
government
Theo.
would hate if everyone started paying cash for everything again.
Yeah, probably.
I'd do it out of spite, honestly.
I mean, there's a radio presenter, and he's saying,
Take
and
them
this is the
down.
thing as well. The radio presenter, he's saying, I got burgled. He lives in Portobello or something like that. Got burgled. Went to the police. Thought, look, there's cameras everywhere, all over the high street. Well, not far from the high street. And they went, well, there's nothing we can do. And
Yeah.
then, but what about all this thing about cameras everywhere?
Yeah.
Well,
That's just for
oh,
that's
yeah.
for,
If it's only for a certain level.
parking. Yeah, but it's for parking and
Yeah.
it's for fining stuff.
So it's just like, even though you got camera, it serves nothing. All they got, cameras here, cameras here.
Yeah.
Somebody got stabbed and died. Oh, well done.
Yeah, but it's because
You're
they've
gonna
got to have the
him back,
man
bring him
hours to
back
look
to
it up,
life.
haven't they?
Yeah, but no, you do. That's what we pay you for. Not, well, you're not really that important. What if the Queen got burgled? Yeah, well, definitely. Well, you've literally just told me
I
I'm
like
not
the idea
worth
of the
it.
Queen being burgled.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but you're laughing. But it's do you understand what I'm saying? The government, the police
Yeah.
are saying to you, you're not that important. If somebody else was, we will do it for them.
Oh yeah, money is power. And all
Yeah,
that.
but I mean, that's what it is. That guy's saying, no, they're not going to investigate. But there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
We keep talking about cameras and surveillance safety, but yeah, not for you lot. I mean, it's literally what they're saying. And but you still go, oh, you bung cameras up. No, don't bung cameras up because they're no use to me anyway. So what's the point? I said, if you get murdered, oh, well done. You got the guy. Well, I prefer not to be murdered. Thank you very much.
I mean, at that point, you're kind of,
yeah, you don't really get a say in the matter.
Yeah, no,
at
but
that
that's my
point.
point. I'm saying for other people.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I've been murdered. I don't care, but you catch them afterwards. that I don't want it to happen. How about you put a policeman there to stop the thing?
I think now we're getting to Minority Report, aren't we? Where it's
I
like,
can't
if you're
remember.
predicting the future, you know, if you're preventing
This
crime.
is a conversation that could go on for
But it's just, but it's talking about you not why pay for cash when it's cheaper. No, I'll pay more so you don't. Have
No, but my
face
point was
on-
you don't. I thought that's what you were getting at, was that
Right.
It was cheaper.
I love
Would
that
they
all
give
this
you
came from
discount?
train tickets, by the
Exactly,
way. I really
yeah.
like this.
because it's no. The last
I
time
did
we got on
tell
the
you
train,
this is what the show's
No, the
Yeah.
last time when I got on the train and they go, oh, it's cheaper if you do the thing. No, well, do I have to put my photograph and get a little card? Yeah, well, I'll pay the cash extra. Thank you very much. You won't know I'm getting on the train. It's just this is all going to come tumbling down on you when we get a fascist government in. And they
Why is it tumbling down on me? What did I do?
Yeah, it's you personally. God,
Me
it's all your
travel
fault.
cards ticking in everywhere we go.
Fascists will love that. They'll think it's super efficient.
Anyway, so the acting. So when did you start acting?
3,
Musical.
wasn't it?
I thought that was musical. Or is it still?
I mean, I did acting as well. I did singing, dancing, and acting. Well, not so much the dancing, a little bit. Since I was 3, that's when I can first remember.
Bloody hell, 3. How old can you remember being the youngest?
I think about 4 or 5.
I'm a very stubborn woman, and I was a very stubborn child. So I knew what I wanted, and I was like, "No, I'm doing this." Like this, my
don't
grandma
really
wanted me to be
remember.
like a horse rider.
That probably gives you the recall because you've got that fixed point as a
Yeah.
reference.
Yeah.
I mean, my childhood was nothing but trauma. Kerem, how early can people remember themselves in Turkey?
In Turkey, why is it specific?
It's different in different. Come
He's
on.
obsessed. He's obsessed.
What was the earliest you can remember?
About 4.
Yeah.
So it's just me then.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just you.
It's just
Yeah,
you.
but you've taken a lot of kicks to the head, so.
Yeah, I do throw that one out. No, I can probably. How old are you when you're in primary school?
I don't know.
Like
what,
last
5 or
year?
6?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
last year?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's when I can.
secondary
remember.
school
Last
is
year.
11 and 12, isn't it?
I had the 3-tier system, so this
so-
is nothing to me.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. Like now, I was like, oh yeah, you know, it's like now
Primary
it's GCSEs
school-
is numbers now.
Last year of primary school was year 6, so that's
Don't know
like
what that means.
12,
Yeah.
13,
Yeah, so it's probably
11, 12.
probably that age. Yeah, I can't remember anything before then. Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Not even
Just
not even
gone.
being sad sitting outside someone's
No.
house on Christmas.
What?
You told the story about the time you walked to your friend's house and sat outside at Christmas, and literally everyone got so sad. It was kind of
You're
hard.
not talking about the church. When I sat outside, fell asleep outside the church and woke up on Christmas Day.
Oh God!
Oh my God.
I
It's
did
like
use
some
the-
Christmas
I-
carol.
No, but I don't know
Yeah.
if I told you. So I did used to go and put cards through people's door that, like, if they were struggling, like a single mother, I used to put money, but I didn't put the name because I just wanted somebody to have a bit of Christmas something that
I
wasn't.
love that.
Because the adults grow out of it. But I used to do that all
Yeah.
the time. Also had nothing to do on Christmas. So
Apart
that was-
from, apart
it
from
got
to
me
go
out-
yell at the sea.
It got me out of the house. But I didn't know if I told you that, so it can't be that. Well, it
I'm
might
sure
be.
there was a story about like it was someone you knew at school, and you went and
No,
like you
it was nobody
trudged
at
for
school.
miles to
Oh, no,
sit
that.
outside their house.
No, I think you've blurred some stories
Oh,
there.
okay.
You're making this like sound so much better that you should go with it. Like, please.
No,
go
it's
with it.
that when it was Christmas Eve and I just had there's people celebrating and it was just like, what do I'm just sat in this tiny little it was a room that was less than the bed set. It was like what do they call it? The government paid for the bloody what do they call it? Social housing thing.
Oh yeah.
And everyone was sort of celebrating next door with his families. I thought, I'm getting out of here. I'm not sitting here. Like it's 11 o'clock at night, Christmas Eve. So I just got out and I just walked. And I said, I don't know where I'm going. I've got nothing. I've got no money, so I can't do anything. Don't know anybody. So I'm just going to walk. And I ended up at some church in the middle of like fields, like 4 miles away in Hertfordshire. And then the church was just kicking out because it was strange that it was there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know they were open at night at that thing. And I just saw
Midnight
the
mass,
light.
wouldn't it be?
Yeah, up on the hill. And I thought, well, let me go there. I'm saying I must have walked for about 2 hours, just walked somewhere. And I saw people coming out. So I sort of skittled out because I walked up to it and people came out. But the door was left open. So I waited for about 20 minutes and everyone had gone. I thought, why is the door still open? So I went in there and I just sat there. And I was just like, oh, I don't know what to do with my life. And I'm just sat here. And then I heard some noises like rustling. So I quickly skittled out and I went outside and sat by the back of it. And I heard the door shut. But then I woke up and it was like 5 a.m.
Wow.
And I was just woke up and I was staring at just a gravestone. And it
This
was
is
Did it
5.
have your own name on it? Like
It was 5. Yeah.
No.
It was 5 o'clock in the morning when it's, grey.
Oh my
And it's like not
This is
yesterday.
the sequel to Christmas Carol,
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
If you didn't know, like this
It
is
was
the
one of the
unheard
most. I want
tales.
to make it more depressive than it wasn't because it was, but it wasn't.
It's hard. It's hard.
But
to
I
make it
was
more.
just looking at it and I've got no money. I've got no witness to me being alive. No one cares. I've got nothing to go back to. It's Christmas Day, and I'm sat here staring at a gravestone at 4 and 5 in the morning. And I just thought at the time.
And how old were you at this point?
Oh, I don't know ages. So probably
roughly
mid-20s. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that you were younger.
this was like a Tiny Tim situation. Like,
but I just thought, this is fucking pathetic. Like, this is real. I thought at the time, sat there, I wonder if anyone in the world has ever been this pathetic. Like, there's nothing here. And I was thinking back to sort of ancient times in my head. Like, even then, somebody must have had, because there's nothing lower. Like, this is it. This is the bottom of the...
I think Rudy Giuliani giving a victory speech outside of a dildo shop when he meant to book the Four Seasons is probably more pathetic.
Why did we bring that up for Christmas?
It's gone I can't remember now. Who knows?
Let's bring it back up. Let's bring the energy back up.
This suddenly got really heavy. I was like, damn.
I wish it's not dark. I just remember it was just funny to look back on and go,
yeah,
that was pretty low. Like, it's a weird, got nothing. No.
Normally that would be the redemption story.
Yeah, it's a good story though. I say everything
got worse from there.
Oh,
because having nothing was pretty good, because it's when you got worse.
You fled from the church, you turned your back on.
Yeah,
but it was funny because I was just thinking, like, there's no depression, nothing. I was just thinking, this is pretty low.
You're just wondering.
Like, in my head, I was thinking, this is pretty low. It's the only way now because of all the stuff I've done. People say, "Oh, you've done the magazine, done these things and podcasts," and like, it genuinely bounces off me, that sort of stuff. But I remember going from zero. Because that's the to go from zero to having 100 quid in your pocket. That's the hard bit. Getting to where you're sort of taken to sit as a professional, like a member of society, even.
Yeah.
That was the bigger journey. Yeah. Everything else is easy. The magazine, that was all easy. That was nothing. The hardest bit was going, I've got no money, nothing. How do I become a normal human being? I can't read at the time still.
Yeah.
So I'm locked out of society. Going from there to just a normal human being. Just getting my first job and going, wow, how did I get here? Like,
first paycheck, or was it cash in hand?
The first one I probably got gigs, I actually felt a little bit respectable, almost like fraud. Like I was like a proper person when somebody'd pay me to do a job.
Yeah.
And going, oh, this feels quite nice. But then realised that I immediately don't fit into a structure. So I just bounced from job to job to job.
Do you remember like the first time, I hope this isn't a gross question, but do you remember like the first time you got paid to act?
First time I got paid
you realise you're not, you're faking it.
But do you know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, oh wow, now I do this for, like I do this for a living kind of thing.
This is the thing, like this is the problem. And this is why every time I go to like interviews and stuff, I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Because of the way that I act, I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything about any job. Like, you can ask me, there's maybe like a few things that I'll know, but like I genuinely don't know the first time I got paid. I'm like,
do you know what? That's a thing. So I was speaking to somebody once, and they were saying, I can't remember what it's called, but it's to do with how you view time. And it's like, no, you just reset. You ask me like all the time. People send me what age this. There's supposed to have been a birthday for me last. What are we in August still?
Yes. Sure.
Yeah.
And because I don't know anything about ages or anything like that.
I love that you checked your watch, by the way.
I
thought you were just being a bit. I was like, really?
Yeah. So I immediately forget anything. If it's not,
I was bored.
It's just the next thing. And you could say next week, what happened last week? Think, I don't know. I don't think like I don't go backwards.
Yeah.
So when I say what age were you, they go, I haven't got a bloody clue. You probably know. You take a guess, but it's just thinking forward. But it sounds like a weird thing until you sort of get it. Someone say, when did you get to go? I don't know. I don't think backwards.
Well, especially because like from an acting point of view, as I said, like I'm not there. It's my character. Like there's so much that I don't remember.
When do you okay, forget the payment thing. When did you feel like, oh, I'm doing a proper job? Like
I guess that's what I was.
When people say like action and
go
click,
not like what's your sort code and you know what I mean? Like when did you?
Yeah,
I think actually it's only until more recently. So I recently did a web series called 7 Minutes in Heaven. Really great. I had the best time. And it was when I was like in that room, even though it was a very small production in terms of like crew size. It was very like small, which was nice. It was nice and intimate, and it worked for what we were doing. But that was, I kind of sat there like in between takes, and I was like, huh, Yeah, I feel it now. I was
Right,
like,
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this will do. And they're like, oh, they had bottled water and stuff. I was like, yeah, this is great.
Did they have oxygenated water?
Yeah.
That's
That's
the real
thing.
question.
No, see,
See,
you
there,
guys,
you feel
guys
that.
are prepared.
I don't know if this makes sense. Is there a certain type of acting that you prefer, like action, romance, comedy? I think that makes sense.
I mean, I get hired to play a lot of evil people, or just like
Just
Is that the black hair? Yeah.
yeah, and kind of sexy, the sexy like bitchy one essentially.
Like the femme fatale.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that always a black hair thing? I think it is, isn't it?
No, I wouldn't
In,
think. I don't think. Well, in old kind of thing, wasn't it? Because it's always.
It's kind of
think it
that,
is
and
that.
also just of the way that I carry myself,
Yeah.
because I'm very self-assured
Yeah.
as a person.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. So classic. Anything dramatic. It's like confident woman must be evil.
Yes, so, but
And she
I
has
have
a
a lot
dark
of
hair.
fun.
Well picked up on that, yeah.
It's great. I have a lot of fun, but yeah, those kind of roles are definitely
Dark,
I like a
strong.
lot of dark stuff. Like my dream kind of thing is The Haunting of Hill House and stuff like that. That's all like
It's a
kind
horror
of.
film, I assume.
It's a horror series, and it's
It's quite recent, isn't it? I haven't
yes,
seen it,
it's
yeah.
you have to watch it. It's the best thing ever.
What's this on Netflix or something?
Yeah, it's on Netflix,
Oh, okay.
and it's kind of gothic-ish. I like a lot of like gothic, kind of weird, twisted, out there, experimental a little bit. I really want to do some action stuff. I'd really like to do that, but I'm a massive fantasy person as well. Like personally, my taste in films, love fantasy films. So stuff like Maleficent and things like that.
Yeah.
I do all that.
Is that
stuff.
also because of Angelina?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no to working with her. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say no.
Did I tell you I had an argument with a stunt guy in the film set? Did I tell you that?
It's hard to keep track of who you've
I
had an argument with.
No, don't, because that all adds. No, see, I could tell you something else that
Yeah,
somebody
but
said.
go on with the stunt
No, because
guy.
he was clearly hired people because they were attractive more than what they could do,
Oh.
and they couldn't. The
for
fight
stunt
scenes-
as well. That's really.
I mean, low level.
I mean,
stunts,
that's an
like,
insult
still-
to the people.
Oh,
the
they-
people
that-
anyway.
But that's also very dangerous. That's very like because even doing something silly, you can hurt yourself.
No,
Quite
no. I'm
bad.
gonna say
Simple
it wasn't
rather
like
than
Hollywood
silly.
stunts. It was like basic low level
Yeah, but
fight
still,
scenes.
you could still throw the punch
But
wrong.
it was
or-
so bad
yeah,
that
that's
I
a
was
bit
looking at a
cringe.
stunt guy going. Now, remove Hollywood,
Yeah.
come right back to sort of amateur filmmaking. And the
Yeah.
stunt guy clearly was too young, had no experience. He didn't even carry himself like somebody that knew physicality.
Right.
And he's telling them who know less than him. And I felt out of guilt. I was thinking, do I say something? Because this looks really bad. This looks
Yeah.
really bad. And I don't mind that he's quite nice. Do I say something? And I was like, you know what they're doing there? That doesn't look good. And he, oh, yeah, but no, I'm not having a go. I'm just saying that what you're doing looks. And I was
You
thinking,
mean like it didn't look good?
there were like
quality?
strangle scenes and all that. And I was thinking, they're supposed to be in the army. And you're doing a strangle thing like
Someone just go.
yeah, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's more to this. I'm thinking that looks like
Not
a sort
quite the tone I think people were
of, yeah,
going
like a
for.
10-year-old would do something.
Okay.
And they had
Yeah.
money, so they had the set and all that. I'm thinking, and I was trying to explain, and it just like a child. Anytime you try and help somebody, just ego kicks in straight away.
Yeah.
Forget you're trying to help me. Forget anything I might learn. I'm doing it. I wouldn't do it in front of people. You know, I'm doing all that. Just kick. I thought, oh, okay, do. I'm trying to help you. Not
Yeah.
interested. And it looked ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's finding a balance in those kind of situations between respecting someone's position and their work and the fact that they're getting paid to do that, but also like for the good of everyone else. Because everyone involved, if it looks bad, it's everyone's reputation because they're
I
attached to the
know,
project.
but it annoyed me because I'd want somebody to say when I'm at the gym.
I mean,
right,
yeah.
I never used to tell anybody about like, oh, you might be doing this wrong because it's not my business. Or I go, sometimes when I see people doing stuff that's actually just damaging them and they've just seen it somewhere. But it's only when a young Spanish guy, I was at the nighttime in the gym, and this just, I think it was Spanish. He said, "Oh, by the way, when you're doing the back exercise," I said, "I could see like when you moved your arm up, it looked better." And since then, I thought, thank God there's people like that. He had nothing to
Yeah.
gain. I could have just gone, "Look, you, like, who are you? You're just a skinny kid." And since then, I thought, no, you should. So I do tell people,
Yeah.
but you've got to go. Some people kick off.
I think
Well,
you just
it's fine.
read the room
Yeah,
as
it's the
best as you
personality,
can, and
yeah.
obviously if people want to take that, then they can. If they
No, I
don't want
think-
to take it, they don't.
Anyone, if you see something doing something wrong, or something, just go and say to them, by the way. And I always say, oh, by the way, I hope you don't mind, but somebody helped me once. Is why I'm saying it to you. That I just even say that because I'd want somebody to tell me.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the way, and again, you don't do it in front
Well,
of
also
people. You don't,
particularly if you're going to hurt yourself lifting like that, you can do yourself some
When I
serious
see-
damage.
I can't even bother to talk about, like, personal trainers, inverted commas, that are teaching up that look terrible, telling other people how to do something. I'm looking and I can feel my adrenaline going with the fact of not only do nothing, you're just hurting that person's cartilage and you don't even know because you don't know what you're talking about. But I'm watching you damage somebody and I think, let it go. This doesn't end. I'm just looking down the road. This will never work out for me. I only get damaged here. As I said before, I'm running out of gyms and I'm but it's like, I think, no, I'm in the right, I should be able to say something, but the world has created a place where you can't say anything to anybody because everyone's bloody ego.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of struggle with ego and stuff, and that's to do with how everyone's been brought up, in the fact that people aren't allowed to speak.
Shove that mic in your face a bit more.
Sorry, I'm just like...
how do you carry on learning in acting?
Right.
Because I don't know how you study acting. Once you get the basics out of the way of talking into the camera, blah, blah, what do you...
Would you call yourself like a method actor?
I'm really like method. But I think method... I'm more Meisner, which is a development from that.
I don't know what either mean, but I just heard them.
Stanislavski's more stage, isn't it? And Meisner's more
well,
screen,
Meisner's kind of... Meisner he built off of Stanislavski. So there's kind of a bit of everything in everyone. But I think it's even saying the word method means something to every different to every single actor.
It's oh god, what's that bloody thing? Is it the Actors Studio?
Yeah.
With the guy that talks like this. What's his name? James something?
Can't remember his name.
Is that still on?
Probably it must
Probably, yeah.
It's very good. The only time I hated it.
Yes.
Actually, I got proved right later on. Oh, who was Madonna? The early
Sean
days.
Penn?
There was like the Breakfast Club or something. There was like 5 of them. Madonna.
Oh, the Brat Pack.
Yeah.
She wasn't in the Brat Pack. Though.
Oh, Sean Penn. It was him.
Yeah, Sean Penn, yeah.
Who's like a spoilt rich kid, basically. So recently when I listened to the Madonna audiobook or the unknown,
wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every year I randomly pick 5 audiobooks that I've never heard. I don't care. So I open up my mind to things I don't.
I like that.
So
That's actually...
So I listened to that. There was a comedy
cool.
one. It's a black comedian from Sheep. And just random stuff because you have to force yourself. It won't happen.
Absolutely.
And I listened to her as well. I'm not interested really. I'm not into just the what you look like life. And her life is more... It's quite interesting in what she doesn't tell the truth about. You know, she's created everything in her. Yeah. And all the people say, no, she says this, that wasn't what happened. No, that story didn't happen. And it was actually like people talking, saying like she was, like, you remember seeing her, like she was so desperate to be famous and it wasn't going well. Like she turned up in New York. She thought it was just going to happen because she's from a small community where she was quite unusual and she just gets thrown into New York and she's just another person.
Yeah.
And I remember coming back into the room and she was in a fetal position crying, saying like, I don't know what to do, because she was thinking about going home because it just, she suddenly became a one.
Is that a moment you've had, or?
I think everyone has like multiple of those moments throughout your career.
But I'm going to forget. So the guy, there's to talk about her, like he tied her up. Like when they were dating, he was like he was schizo, mate. He was like a proper insecure.
I thought you meant in a fun way.
No,
sorry, insecure, I was going in a completely different direction.
Insecure rich kid, like saying you're seeing somebody else and all that. Like he was a nutter.
Yeah.
And she was saying like he was checking up on her everywhere, like she had no reason, but he was just a spoilt young kid, and he whatever he had wasn't happy with, and he started dating her. But you're doing this, you're doing, and he said like you're not going out of the house anymore. And he tied her up and all this. So I never liked him because of that. But
so this was Sean Penn doing this.
Yes,
God.
But
wow.
Again, he was a spoilt rich kid in America. But what was he talking about? Oh, so the Actors Studio, and he went on there once. And they have a rule like you're not allowed to smoke. And he got out a cigarette and lit it and started smiling. And everyone was like, woo! And I thought, oh, piss off, you pathetic little child.
That's not cool.
It's just, but it's such a wankery thing to do. Oh, look at me.
It's the person who smokes on the bus.
There's like being cool and then there's being a wanker. I agree.
Yeah, and the fact that he's a spoilt rich kid, that he just gets whatever he wants. Because he was like, he punched a reporter when he was younger and he got away with it because he paid him off. And then he did it again. And I was thinking, just a petulant little child, just a silly little child. But so when I saw him next to him, he lit up and that smug look on his face, I thought, you are a real prick. You know, you're not Trent, you're not cool. Is he still about?
Yeah.
Didn't he say also, didn't he dropped out of acting? He said, I quit acting because his father was like blackballed in the, you know, when they had the, what was it called?
What, in the communist stuff?
In America.
In McCarthy.
The McCarthy. And so he said, I'm leaving. And then he came back to it a few years later. So you can't even
Can't have been blackballed. Like, he would have.
No, he did
before
something. I remember
he was alive.
No, but because his dad did it and he found
I
out
see.
that he's like, he said, "Oh, F you lot, I'm not going to do acting anymore," for about 3 years.
A lot of people, you know.
And then he came back in. So you go, "Oh, he's just but just that whole." And then when I heard him in the audiobook, she was saying like, "Oh, he's such a petulant little child. He was like a child." I thought he tied her up in the kitchen. He sat on her for like 2 hours when around the house. But if you want to know about fame and all that,
Yeah.
I listened to them. The Madonna. I can't remember. It must have been an unauthorized biography or something like that. But again, you learn much more from the unauthorized biography. But you realise how, like she was saying, I came to New York, I had no money, blah, blah. And her mate was like, no, she came to New York, she had like 800 quid. I remember seeing it.
Is that a lot of money?
And when she said she'd arrived, she'd actually been there the year before to meet somebody.
Oh.
So like, you go, oh, her whole life is just a painted collage of...
I mean, you got to remember things like Madonna, Lady Gaga. It's a character, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a brand.
Yeah, but you realise, listen, she's got a lot of things wrong with, like, she's got that love addiction thing where she only enjoys the flush of love.
Okay.
And when she's got it, it then falls away.
It's lust, not love.
Not so much lust. I think she needs the attention
Oh,
of
okay,
the
right.
new thing. And look, now I can sell a new paparazzi photograph.
Yeah,
and as soon as they have that, it then just goes away. And she
What's
goes
her
on to the next
relationship with
person.
their parents like? Or have I answered my own question?
I think she had a problem with her dad.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
But she had that thing of like she wanted to be unique, but she has the insecurity of things she tried and kept failing at. Like her things were like she tried to do ballet,
Right.
and she said, I remember her complaining to the ballet, saying my back's hurting, and the woman had to say, look, everyone's back's hurting, but they don't complain. So she had to quit ballet because she couldn't do it, and then she went to do dance, and that didn't work out because she couldn't keep up with it. So then she accidentally went to do singing with this band. But then she got a contract to do something, but she dropped the band and then just went with these other people and left it. And so she was just jumping from like me to the
Trying to figure out where her break was going to be.
But then the whole thing was just fake everything, and everywhere she went, she was lying about the past. So it just become a big sort of, you hollow yourself out. That's all you're doing because you're nobody anymore. But then she's just relying on the attention of media to keep her alive because there is no her. Her is the media.
Yeah.
But then that's a weird dance to get involved in. That's a deal with the devil.
It's a slippery slope, and it's very easy to get into, very difficult to get out.
And a lot of the she spoke to a lot of the boyfriends, and they're saying so she'd be dating them, and then she'd just after a few months she'd just click off, and then you hear, oh, she was with another guy at a club that she said was a friend, and she'd be with him. So then you'd be dating somebody, she'd break up with that fella, she'd hear you're with somebody else, then try and get back to you. And you go, no, because you're just...
So what we've learned today is that Angelina Jolie, yes, Madonna, no. Or are we
no, I'm no for both.
Oh, you're no for both. Well,
Yeah.
I mean...
You're yes for Angelina.
I'm yes. Big Angelina, yes.
Fair enough.
But
But
I'm
okay,
biased. Huh?
Madonna, no?
Not my type.
Well, she's about 90.
I don't know how old Madonna is. Kerem, can we have a... We need...
Yeah.
Send it over to the Oracle.
Yeah, we need
answers.
a check for this one, please. I like this. Talk amongst yourselves, listeners, while we try and find
Fred
out.
knows
how-
everything about me.
63. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's younger
But that's
than I
not
kind of would have
63, what
thought.
used to be 63. She probably looks like 43. Do you know?
Yeah,
One of those
she
sort of
Yeah,
does.
things.
She
that's the thing, isn't it? But it's like when you look at pictures of old, it's like, oh, here was your granddad going off to war when he was 17. You're
Yeah.
like, he looks about 40. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
He's got
Like,
height.
yeah, exactly.
But no, as we said before the podcast, I have a real, like, I can't get past how you are morally
Yeah.
with how you look physically. It's irrelevant. I'd almost say the moral thing is more, if you walked in and you're like an Angelina Jolie, I just see that you broke up a relationship. There's nothing attractive.
I don't know. I think like I
That's
still think the
secondary.
more is on him because he was the married guy. She was single at the time, no? Or,
I really think that like both were
Yeah,
just
no, both.
irresponsible.
Yeah.
I don't
The
separate.
whole situation
Yeah.
was just like, what?
I feel bad for, who was he married to?
Jennifer
Friends.
Aniston.
For Aniston, yeah. But now she might be getting with David Schwimmer.
Oh,
It's
God, the
all coming
gossip.
true.
Who's he? Is he
He's the
in
guy that played
Friends?
Ross, yeah. They were the
Yeah.
couple on the
That
show that everyone was...
dorky-
Yeah.
And then they like exposed themselves in the reunion. Said, "Oh yeah,
Oh.
we like it was just the wrong
Not
time for all of
expose
us."
themselves.
No,
they-
no. Oh wait, yeah. They were just like, "Oh yeah, we liked each other and we knew we were just both in relationships all of the times that the other one was single." And so now everyone's like, "Oh, they're gonna get together,"
That
and I'm like,
goofy, jittery sort of character. That's
On
not.
behalf of all goofy, jittery people, I'm very offended by that remark.
Like I was,
Felt like that was a personal attack there, Kerem.
each to their own.
I was listening to the
Everyone has a
Stephen
preference.
Fry audiobook, and he was talking about who's Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah.
And he's saying about he met Rowan Atkinson's wife is like I think she's an Asian makeup artist. He met her on set, and he was saying, "Oh, like,
hold on, do you mean a makeup for Asian people?" Or
no, she's an Asian makeup artist that
right,
he met on set, and he was saying like, even though I'm a gay male, she was the woman like she's so beautiful. Like I was getting jealous.
You can appreciate the aesthetics,
but
right?
I was thinking, Mr. Bean, like you've seen your fella, basically that, and that's the bloke you want to go to bed with.
Yeah,
I mean, I love
But didn't you say it's about morals?
Yeah,
Looks,
exactly.
It's not just one-sided.
No, but there's no he's not bringing a negative thing. But surely when you go, that's my husband. Like I'm not.
I mean, I'd be proud because he's bloody funny. Like,
Yeah. Plus, Mr. Bean, he's got that Mr. Bean coin. You laugh, but he
No, but I feel
he lives in a mansion and has sports.
I don't believe that would be a thing with her.
Maybe not. No.
But I just think surely when you go, right, here's my husband here, and here's my husband. Mr. Bean walks in, you go, oh,
Yeah, but if you,
It's funny.
He's not,
Yeah.
he's
That
not acting
works
like
for about
Mr.
10
Bean at
minutes.
home, I hope. You
no,
know?
but when you're in the bedroom, you go, yeah, he's funny.
but
That doesn't work.
Then in the bedroom, she's like, put on that Blackadder 2 beard.
oh gosh.
Put on the Blackadder 2 tights.
I suppose everyone's got weird quirks. It could just be she might find that attractive.
He could just be a really nice, charming guy.
Everyone's got their things.
Yeah.
yeah,
Each
yeah, I
to
think,
their
yeah,
own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we just had to go at everyone in Hollywood.
Poor old Rowan Atkinson just minding
I'm
his own
here
business.
advocating for all. I think they're great.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, near me, I got a letter through the door because I live near a big field. I live in one of these small towns, but there's a massive field where they're just constantly hiring for like World War II reenactments and anything to do with airplanes.
That makes
It's
sense.
in, let's just say it's in Bedfordshire near. And I've just got a letter through the door saying, oh, they're filming a scene for a new, Rowan Atkinson thing for Netflix
Okay.
called The Bee or something, The Bee.
The
And
Bee.
it's about him chasing a bee around a house. And,
So this is like a new B movie kind of situation.
oh, bee movie, there you go. And but there's going to be explosions.
Didn't they do a film about that, but with a mouse?
No idea.
What?
But there was like a film called Mouse Hunt. It was just an hour and a half of people chasing a mouse in a house.
That is so odd.
But anyway, so they said,
But a film about a bee, we're all just fine.
I know. I think,
well, yeah,
how do you
obviously.
sell that with all the scripts out there? Oh, Mr. Bean's going to be chasing a bee. But anyway, they said there's going to be explosion. So they had to put a letter out to say there's going to be explosions on this day.
Oh, okay.
So if you hear something on Netflix about a bee and Rowan, that you heard it here first.
There we go.
We have the exclusive.
We
do
have,
we?
yeah.
I got a letter.
Scoop, guys.
But I'm not having a go at him. I don't drag him down. It's more to do with I don't get it.
Yeah, but it can be
when you add in everyone's got very weird quirks. You go, okay, yeah. So some people might that be an attractive I think she might like the nerdy.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone has their things, their criteria.
Would you do a film about chasing a bee
You
If
know
it paid.
what? Yeah, I
for
mean,
that Netflix coin?
yeah,
just for the SAG card,
Yeah,
just to get
exactly.
those points under your
Do you have to get a SAG card for this American thing or have you already got one? Or how does it work?
I don't quite know how
they'll
it's
sort
going
you
to
out
work.
one
Yeah,
moment.
they literally they sort it out for me.
Yeah, because you need to have a certain amount of credits, don't you?
No, I think you only need to have had like one paying job. I think,
But in another country, does that
I
work?
think so.
It depends, and like,
And it's like
visas and
$3,000,
stuff.
$3,000 a SAG card. It's not cheap.
Yeah, it's quite. It can like wipe out your.
I know that in America, there's just to get the card, people sometimes do like stand-up comedy, like on open mic, just because you can put that down, so you can do like 3 nights.
Yeah, you
and
figure
so-
out how best to make it work for you, I guess.
Yeah. When would that be coming through? Like, what would the weeks, months, days?
I don't know. Like, I just the thing about this industry, which is the brutal part that I don't think many people understand, is that you either get a yes or you get silence. You don't get. It's very rare that you will get a actual verbal no. It's
Well, I heard
radio
somebody in
silence.
America. They said that they're quite funny about saying no to people because they're worried that one day you might become famous.
I think that's
And
horrible.
if they say nothing, then they didn't turn you down. They can say, "We didn't hear from you. We didn't."
I mean, I think it's worse to say nothing. Like, I mean,
it's more
how it
disrespectful,
works.
but from their side, they don't say no to people because it might come back. Actually, talking
when I
about
used to do
Madonna,
casting, I always used to say no. I used to send like emails.
You got just to
phone
let
calls,
people-
just to say no, just to not leave people waiting. And you just, as long as you're polite in the email, you know, a lot of the time, you know, by the time you've got them in the room, you'll have seen their show. So it's not like they're going to turn up and be like, "Hi, my name is thingy. I wanted," you know, they're not going to be.
but
at
just
that
to put it
point
to
where-
bed for somebody, just go right. Okay,
Yeah, you can't. It's just
But then
not-
they do say when you do audition, you said just once it's done, forget the thing.
Oh,
it's not
absolutely.
just let it go, just forget about it. But Madonna, talking about Madonna,
Oh my God.
do you remember? whenever it was, 15 years ago, when she had kept all the rejection letters from people and she put them online. Yeah.
That's iconic. That's iconic behavior. I love that.
But yeah, that almost says a lot about her that she kept all them just to go.
Yeah, but a lot of people do keep that kind of stuff.
No,
and,
yeah.
The bad energy on that. I'm keeping with you rejection letters.
You can use it depends how you treat rejection.
Yeah,
if
whether
you
it fuels you or whether it hurts you.
Anyone also if you treat it as rejection or not.
I think you're looking to do. You can work in. Well, it motivated me and I kept them on the wall. I don't believe anyone's ever done that. I keep them out of hate and anger that I'm going to get you back. I think it's more to do with that, especially with her. There's no sort of motivation. It's built on her life. Is built on rage and anger.
I have kept an email. This is very bad. From I was casting a project, and it was where the makers of it had a viral film, but at the time the word viral didn't matter. So in the email, I was like, "Oh, it's from the makers of this film. It was a smash hit online." And no. And this agent wrote back to me. He's like, he said, the thing is, I've been voting for the Academy Awards for I can't remember how long it was, and I never heard of your smash hit film. But good luck. I'll see if I can pass it on to the actor in question who now represents themselves.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But also, every once in a while, I check in on this guy just to be like, let's see, is he Brad Pitt's agent? Oh no, he represents a bunch of people. He's not Bobby Big Potatoes like he makes out.
But that sentence, that opening sentence, you could just take that, and I know everything about you.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it's not working out for you. You're angry.
The person we were talking to had like reasonably biggish profile at the time, but I think I'd spoken about it with the director. I said this, and he said, if they come back, we don't want to work with these people because that tells us that they're going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, so
that one sentence. Yeah.
But I'm just like, I've kept that email, and I'm just like anything. I'm like, because I've had a few things happen, and I'm like, no, I'm going to wait. Because I thought about but whatever. I just thought I'm going to wait until something big happens. I'm going to just be like, fuck you.
That's a good moment. That's an email that you want.
It's the how do you like them apples moment
with everything that I've done with the magazine on that. I think I've basically contacted everybody in the UK at some point over the years, like basically everyone. And I'm just waiting when things kick off and it all works. I'm just waiting for the thousands of emails to come back and go, oh, I've just seen this in my spam box. I'm just waiting for it to come through. So that's funny. You're the 30th person today that said that.
Have I ever told you that I hadn't been on LinkedIn in years? And it was after you and I had started doing the podcast. I think it was when we did the pilot together, and then we were doing the podcast.
Pilot for what?
For Social Contract.
Oh, right.
And then so we're doing the.
I've been kicking your foot. I thought that was a table leg. Sorry.
It's okay.
Get too casual.
And then I was trawling through like LinkedIn. I hadn't been on in about 5 years, and I was like, I probably should go through this. And I had a message from you. They're like, hey, I'm looking for people. I can't remember. I think it didn't work out. Yeah, exactly.
Why do you not use it?
I need to go through my LinkedIn because LinkedIn it overwhelms me. I don't get it. I don't get LinkedIn, but I've had loads of messages. But a lot of them is just like spam stuff. But I should probably go through it just for that reason. Because I still get things now where people will get back to me. Oh, sorry, I didn't see this. Is it still open? The opportunity? No, it's like 2 years ago. Yeah.
If you're on a you've got to check it. That's part of your work.
I do now have it open, but I just got. Because of doing casting, the amount of times I got people being like, "Oh, we have a really cheap deal on casting and mold." I'm like, molds, and I'm like, no, you haven't researched what I do. You've just seen half the word, and that's what a lot of LinkedIn is. It's just people going.
But can't you switch all that off? Because I don't get all that. I'm sure you can marketing and things.
Yeah, but if it's just because I just accept everyone, I'm like, worms.
Oh no, see, I don't do that. That's what I don't understand when people say, I've got this many connections. I spend most of my time filtering off. No, I don't know. We've got no use for each other. I'm not trying to build up numbers. I just want people that are useful to me.
I don't accept people that aren't. I'm like, why is someone who's this, is in, I don't know, is a shop assistant wanting to, like, why do you want to, what are we going to do?
I knew, there's a girl I spoke about, this is years ago, and she said she came off of LinkedIn. She said, because it's basically people contacting me, trying to chat me up.
Oh, God.
And I just thought, on LinkedIn.
What? On LinkedIn?
It's so...
On LinkedIn?
Yeah, but you can't escape.
That's what I mean. It's just there's no crevice that they won't try and get
you can't
in.
escape the fact that, we've discussed many times that, like, the average man on the street is a decent person.
Yeah.
But as a collective, men are just disgusting sex pigs. And it's just...
It's just for me, I'm like, men make decisions, and I'm like, interesting choice. Like really interesting. Personally, don't get interesting choice made. It's like an acting choice. I'm like, wow, this is the situation. This is what I as a woman have presented to you in this situation, and you chose that. That's your response. Right.
Have you got any problems like dating another actor? Or it's not a thing. That's not a thing in your head.
I don't
to
think
do it or not to do it.
I don't think either way. I mean, I think people are people. But I am a big thing of like, I will not date people whilst I'm like working on something, because it's just like.
Well, if you're a full-time actress.
Yeah, but you mean like the specific
with
project?
With them. If I'm working with them on this project,
right.
Not as in general, because obviously, yeah. But yeah, if I'm working with someone, and they want to start like getting involved whilst working, it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, no, that's too.
Well, you're just blurring the lines between personal and work, and I think for me, it would be unprofessional. It would make me unprofessional. I don't judge other people, but for me,
date an actor that somebody's.
I think it's great because I think there's pros and cons to both sides of it. Because I think it's great because if you date another actor, they understand your job. They understand that you won't be around all the time. Your schedules are more likely to work in terms of being able to make a relationship work. And they understand that Yeah,
it's quite a clunky relationship though, isn't it? Disappearing for months, the other person then disappearing.
Yeah, but it's that understanding and that match of that, No,
I think that works mentally, but I think logistically, when it's actually, I think whenever you've got an extreme job, I think you always need somebody that's the opposite. Because then it balances it. If you have got two people, you can go, we can talk about things and all that. But would you want to be talking about the same the director?
You might not necessarily be talking about it all the time.
I think it's down to personalities, actually.
Yeah, I think it depends on how you are as a person and how you are in a relationship.
Job, that's interesting for a bit. But then you go, look, don't you just want to be with someone that's just not talking about the filming and the lighting guy, the set.
But you wouldn't be with someone just because they're an actor. So surely you'd like who they are as a person. It just happens that they're an actor.
More than the job.
Yeah.
Have you ever dated an actor?
Yes, kind of. Maybe.
Yes,
no, the answer's no. You wasn't a dating. It was just, what was it? It's just a short thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not someone that like where I'm at in my life at the moment. I'm not like relationships not really a priority for me. I'm kind of a person that's like, if it falls into my lap, it falls into my lap. But yeah, I I've been involved with other actors and things, and it's been great, and it's been not great.
So just like any kind
just
of
like dating people,
like,
really.
It's just a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't change who like.
So are you doing anything at the moment then?
Because you just finished the film as well.
Yeah, I literally wrapped yesterday on a feature film I'm doing called The Psycho List, which is it's a slasher.
Do you play
comedy.
the psycho?
No, for once.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
I like you have to think about that. You're like, is my character a psycho?
I mean, all of the characters are kind of out there. The director, kind of Danny Shaler, he's great. He sees it as kind of like an adult comic, like cartoon situation, but it's not a cartoon. It's just it's out there, which makes it funny. But my character is that sexy but kind of bitchy character again. So it was a lot of fun, and it was great to work on it. But yeah,
if you just straight dyed your hair, dyed your hair, would it change immediately?
I mean,
the roles?
I probably, because I was ginger for a year. Last year I was ginger for a good year, and I definitely got brought in for different stuff. But like this look works best for getting you more
dyed
jobs.
Your hair ginger, just
because
you wanted to, not
just because and that got me like the more sweeter roles. But I'm more
Scottish people all the
time. I'm more successful in terms of getting more jobs and getting through rounds and stuff, because who I am as an actor and my style of acting now matches what I look like as well.
Oh, okay, right. So, I suppose you sort of click into yourself eventually, like what works best.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to box myself in. Like I want to be the most flexible actor I can in terms of being able to do whatever role, but I do know what roles make sense, because especially on film, you have to look like it has to look right. It has to look right. There is just by looking at someone, not necessarily the hair color, but it does help sell.
Yeah.
Which is why I play a lot of those darker characters, which I'm happy to do because they're a lot of fun.
Do you do much on stage stuff, like theatre stuff?
I did, and then not at the moment. I mean, I'd love to. I'd love to do some stuff that like is just, just plays and stuff, not necessarily musical theatre. But it's not something I've had as much opportunity to do. But I'm kind of someone that's open to everything, which is why growing up I was like, I want to train in everything, which is great about training in musical theatre. You do the acting, the dancing, and the singing, so that I can do all of the different things that I want.
Are you still doing any training now? Like, how do you update your acting sort of thing? Is it just repetition?
Kind of. It's different for every person, and I personally don't believe. I think drama school is a great idea, but I don't think it works for everyone. And it's nothing wrong with not being able to go to drama school, or not wanting to, or it not working, because everyone is different and everyone learns differently and comes out differently acting wise anyway. So for me, my process now, I personally think, especially with film, the best way to learn how to act on film is to do it.
Yeah.
To just get on with it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of, again, this is out of date, obviously I've been casting for years, but I always felt that sometimes there was a bit of a detachment between what actors were being prepared for in acting school. A bit like all kind of learning, academia of any kind. There was a bit detachment from what's being taught and necessarily what's the reality of it. I always felt that was kind of the case.
It's a business, isn't it? So it's like something that's small, that's dragged out over years, and there's a lot of stuff, the theory and the blah, blah,
But
blah.
it is all the same, it's the same with like the audition is, as well as it's a performance, it is a job interview, essentially.
Yeah.
So you've got to approach it in that same way.
There's etiquette, there's ways of doing it, strategies and stuff. But yeah, I think from my experience, there's a lot of information at drama schools for theatre and things, but film is much harder to teach in a classroom, just because of the way it is. Whereas theatre, the way that it's structured is much easier to teach. Whereas film, because it is much more intimate and it's instinctual, which theatre can be, but I mean in just the technicality, the technical way of it.
We've looked at a lot of the films from the 50s and these MGM films. I remember talking to somebody, and they said they've always got this weird feel to them.
Yeah.
And the guy said to me, he said, well, because this was the first sort of like films that were being made, so all these people came out of theatre.
Yeah.
So their movements and everyth's big. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a theatre play that you're watching.
Yeah.
But it's also the way it's shot. It's shot
Yeah,
as the fourth wall.
And it's kind of like a theatrical film, if that's what you'd class it as now. But I personally think that, I think everyone should try to be able to do whatever, like to act, if you're an actor, be able to act in theatre and film. But I once had someone say to me, I was 14, which was when I first started going into film, or first realised that I definitely wanted to do that. I went to an Easter course at Italia Conti, and I walked into this class, and I was like the youngest there.
An Easter course?
Yeah, it was just like a little course.
As in a course at Easter.
Yeah, yeah. Not for Easter.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, choice. Yeah, so I went into, I didn't realise we were doing a class on film. And so I went in and we did like an improvised scene on camera, and he's been in the industry for like 30 years at that point. And he taught us all these little techniques, but it was mostly just improvising, seeing what we could do. And then I was the last one to leave the room, and he stopped me and he said, "Oh, do you like being on camera?" I was like, "Yeah." Me going, "Yeah, I'm a narcissist, obviously." He was like, "Yeah, the camera likes you." And I was like, "Okay." He was like, you need to do this for your job, because you can't teach that." And that is the brutal thing about film, that no one like actually talks about enough, that you could be really like the best actor ever, and you could be put in front of a camera and it just won't work. You could be doing the scene amazingly, but it just, for whatever reason, doesn't work. Like there's something about it that it's brutal, but you can't choose. You either work on film or you don't. Which I think I wish people were kind of a bit more honest about it.
I was listening to a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he's talking about the director, and he was saying about it's so strange that some people will be like, they'll be fine offset, like when you're just talking amongst people. And even though they've been trained, the second the camera goes on, they suddenly jolt out of place, and you can't get them back into it. And he said,
"Jolt out of place." How do you mean?
Like the personality it doesn't, like they can be funny and sociable, like, and then when they're trying to do it on the screen, it's just slightly off. And they said it's something to do with like psychology, like you're just slightly on edge.
I think some
and
people
there's a thousand things that your eyes aren't blinking, your hands aren't moving, and it's not noticeable as such, but it's all these little things.
It just feels
off because you're actually slightly out. You're not completely comfortable.
Well,
with yourself.
I personally think that is more of a thing of like some people just can't ignore the camera. They can't like get it out when they're doing the scene. Like obviously I'm aware of like the camera now and stuff, but if I was doing a scene, it's not there. Because I was talking to someone about this, about films. I think the best films and the best actors, the best way to view film acting is that the characters and the world of that film existed 100 years before that camera ever like was there. So it's not that the world has been built and these characters have been placed and built around the camera. It's that world already had been existing and its time has been going on and on and on. And you suddenly just put a camera in a parallel universe. It should never be that you're creating around it. I think that's
this
the
director
subtlety.
said he'd learned that what you basically do is just they're nervous or whatever. He said, I just stick the camera on them and have somebody just look, even though it might not be on. He said, just follow that guy. So when he's having the coffee and all that, he knows it's happening.
Yeah. He
said, we just want to get used to the camera. He said, whatever he's doing, he could be reading the paper. He said, we're just going to have the camera on it. He said, because you need to get it off his head. You
need to learn like to get rid of it, and just some people like to consider it as if it's like another person.
Yeah.
But I'm just someone that's like, it's not there.
It's not there. That's the best
It's not there. It should be that us as an audience, it feels like you've just kind of opened a window into a different world. So that way it can't be.
He said that, but to one guy, don't play into the camera. He said you really have to just do your scene and forget this camera isn't there.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about direction. He said, well, however you look, that's his job. It's not your job to look good on camera.
No.
He will do that in the editing. So that's what they're paid to do. So you just forget it's there.
Yeah.
And it's quite high up as well. We said it's like some people that are like quite high up.
I think it's Clint Eastwood that quite often, I think I'm remembering this correctly, that he'll quite often do read-throughs and rehearsals and stuff, and that's the take. So he'll just have
I'd heard he won't do more than like three.
He does
like
2 or 3 takes,
yeah.
but quite often he'll just be like, he'll have the camera rolling during the rehearsal take, and he'll just be like, actually, I like the rehearsal one, don't worry about it. And
I think it's because of instincts. Like I personally I understand that because I was speaking to the director Danny of The Cyclist, and we were saying about how he gets as an actor gets better the more takes you go. My best takes will be the first few because I believe in instinct, and I kind of every time the camera cuts and then we reset, I try and forget that ever happened to try and keep it as if it's my first. Because so I understand him rolling the camera and wanting to just go with the rehearsal stuff, because that is what came instinctually, like straight away. It wasn't thought about. It wasn't, oh, I've done that, so now I'm going to do it again. It gets stale, and it's very hard to not like to stop it from being that way.
Yeah, every time you do it again, you're going to be less and less original.
Yeah.
And as you know, when we're talking now, nothing is perfect. It is instinctual. Like we're not planning out word for word what we're going to say. Like, I mean, that's the whole point of the podcast. You just gotta go for it, and that is how it should feel on film. Obviously, yes, it has been written, but it should be that it's just what comes out. Which is why Jessica Chastain, who's a great actress, she does this as well. But I do it. And when I get a script, I'll read it through once, and then when it comes to me actually learning it, I'll cross out and like completely black out anything that says I say the character says it like this or walks like this. Obviously there's some parts I need to keep in just because it makes sense, but things that are telling me how to do something I just get rid of, because they will tell me on set how to do it. The director, as we're blocking it, will say, yeah, like this is the feel, and also I will be able to feel it. So it stops things from being too premeditated, because that's not what life is. And, you know, acting is capturing life. It's not pretending. It's not faking.
I just spoke to somebody recently about something we've got filming, and I did say to him about, like, this is basically the words we're trying to get out, but you won't. It's the thing with acting. It's the things that are so small that you have to make fit you. And if there's any words there that you wouldn't say, just ain't, or that will, a few of those in a sentence won't be noticed, but it will feel weird.
Yeah.
So you have to rewrite basic stuff. That's how, when I say a sentence, that's how I would say that sentence.
Yeah.
That's what comes out of my mouth. Whereas if you shove words into somebody's face, which I understand if it's a very Shakespeare or something, But other than that, you've got to find that person's. You've got to get halfway to
Yeah.
them that's how that feels. Sort of like even with clothing or something like that. You know, if they're not used, if the clothing, I wouldn't wear that ever. That feels weird. It's 1,000 little things that have to be in place for it to come across completely naturally.
Yeah.
And again, that doesn't work for everything. Some things do have to be very specific.
I think it's a choice. I think you, as an actor, when you get that script, you've got to make a choice of, okay, do I make this fit me, or do I need to find the character and why does it make sense and why does it fit the character to speak that way, and therefore you have to get rid of yourself and become the character in order to
Well, I
make
heard
it
a
fit.
lot of the higher end actors, they said it's built into the when they're filming. There's always the one where they say, "No, just do it how you want.
Yeah.
Just whatever you think that character would say, because that might be it just flows better."
Absolutely.
So yes, about the more personalization of everything. Is there anything that you would really like to do, like any specific character? Because you get in typecast a little bit, you said, but is there anything that you'd really like? Like, would you love to do a comedy, or would you love to do something like?
I want to do fantasy, as I said. I really want
So
to do.
what does that
like,
mean? Harry Potter.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Harry Potter growing up, but something like that or Maleficent, I think was a great one.
Oh, okay.
I want to do something darker, but fantasy.
I was going to say
I don't
Harry
want
Potter. I thought that
anything
might be a bit too light. For
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I'd love to do. If they ever like tried, I mean, I don't think they should try and redo the Harry Potter series for multiple reasons, but also because it's fine as it is.
Yeah.
It's fine. But if they did, I'd like to see them do darker.
What about? Did you
stories
see
to
the
do
film The
that.
Witch?
Yes.
Would you like to play the daughter, like the one?
Is
just
that the one with Anya
proper-
Taylor-Joy?
I don't know who their names are.
Where it's in like, I think it's in
The
North.
dad gets stabbed
It's
by
with
a
a goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause that's
Spoilers.
there's no fun in that. That's proper dark. It's just misery. Or the
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd want to do like someone asked me if I could play like a character that already exists, who would I play? And I'd play Irene Adler in Sherlock, the series.
Yeah.
It's a TV.
That's perfectly my kind of casting.
Why? What is she?
So she's a dominatrix, but she's very smart, and she
As in an escort dominatrix. She's not just like
No.
forceful
They're kind of
personality.
ambiguous, aren't they? About like she talks about clients and stuff. So you're
Oh,
like,
okay,
yeah.
so
So,
she's
so
a
the whole
job.
story is based off of the book, which is A Scandal in Bohemia, but they call it A Scandal in Belgravia in the series. And so they say she's gay, but I guess she's bi, but we don't really know.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, no.
Yes, yeah. So she's this queer woman, and she's a
there you
dominatrix
go.
by trade, and she one of her clients turns out to be like the princess.
Princess.
They
Is
say
she a
the
woman?
princess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if she's a princess, then yeah.
No, the other.
Oh,
Irene
Irene
Adler.
Adler, yeah.
Yeah. And so
Do you know many blokes
I
called
forgot
Irene?
the name. I thought.
yeah. So that's her client, and so her way of protecting herself, because obviously she gets involved with some high up people, is to take pictures of them consensually
How
whilst
old
they're
is this?
doing
Is it
it.
Victorian era?
No, it's
No,
an
this is-
updating of
Oh.
Sherlock. It was
Yeah,
a couple
yeah.
years ago. It's probably about 10 with Benedict Cumberbatch and
What Sherlock Holmes?
yeah, but
Yeah.
they've kind of
cameras around it. Like
no,
modern.
but they've set it in a modern time.
Yeah, they
It's-
modernized it a bit.
Okay, right. Okay, yeah.
It's really good, but yeah. So she takes pictures of these people as kind of insurance, and then she's now being like, they're trying to get this phone off her because obviously there's pictures of the princess in very compromising positions. And this character, she's just so witty, and Lara Pulver plays her, and she's
great.
But why is she taking photographs of them?
Kind of
it's a contract. It's in their contract, so that basically she can't be exposed for things, and she gets involved with a lot of high up people, so that they can't like manipulate her or
Why would they
get
want to
her do
manipulate
things.
her? Surely they want to keep it quiet.
It's because she knows things, because
Yeah,
a
she
lot of her
knows
clients
things.
are sort of high profile people.
Yeah, and like mafia and things
Yeah.
like that, and so she gets involved with bad people. But yeah,
Okay.
so that's the kind of character I play, because she's really, there's the sex. I always like exploring my character's sensual and sexual side, because I think a lot of the characters I play, they weaponize it, and I think that's a really interesting thing, kind of flipping the tables on the male gaze and things like that, and weaponizing it against people. So I think, yeah, I want to play her.
So you describe yourself as queer. Now, I thought that was an offensive term.
So it's been reclaimed.
so
The
it was,
point is, so
okay.
it's reclaimed by the LGBT.
So you would see that on the
Plus.
poster or whatever as queer and proud or something.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Really?
I think there's so many different ways of identifying. I personally would identify as queer just because sexuality is fluid. And
Well, for some people it is. I don't think it's a set thing.
yeah, I think it can change throughout your life, and that's why it's
Change throughout your life.
Yeah, I mean, experiences that you have, things like that. I mean, it's everyone's different. You've got to remember that, you know, sexuality is going to mean something for everyone.
But isn't that just experimentation? Because surely sexuality isn't transient. It's not something that's going to flow and pop in and pop out.
I think it is. It definitely has been for me in terms of genuinely, like, I've been through periods of my life where I thought that I was just attracted to women. And so I identified as gay or a lesbian. And then I, you know, as I explored my life and came out of experiences that I had, I started being attracted to men. And for me, I identify as queer because sometimes I feel more attracted to men and sometimes I'm like, it'll get away from me.
So you're genuinely bisexual then? Because I would wonder if you were a lesbian, you do not find men attractive at all, which I completely understand. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't they go, oh, what a load of rubbish. There's no sex. You either are or you aren't.
No, I don't think so.
No?
I mean, there are some people, there's a stigma against queer or bisexual people.
Absolutely.
From gay people. So, like
from
gay
women
men and gay
There's
and
stigma from them.
Yeah, there was a controversy, just as an example here, on Celebrity Big Brother. I know it's a crap example, but it's one that just sticks out in my head. Where I think it was Christopher Biggins, who's always been openly gay his whole life, and it's kind of, I guess I would say,
that name?
he's very sort of,
he's old.
He's old fashioned, you know, like at a time when probably, but very flamboyant, kind of like big and cuddly sort of thing, like basically always plays Christopher Biggins in everything he does.
Yeah.
And on Celebrity Big Brother, and I can't remember even who he was talking about, and he just said, "Oh, bisexuals, dreadful people.
Oh no,
why can't they just choose?" Is the basically
it's not so much a thing now, but I mean, I have experienced it as someone who isn't, you know, 100% either way, but also I have like two things probably to preface that I should have said before we start. So first, anything I say is just purely from my from my experience and from people that I've interacted with and had these conversations with, but also that you know, all of the different labels that you hear will mean something different to every single person that identifies them. So bisexuality isn't, people think it means 50-50, it doesn't.
No.
Bisexuality, you know, you could be 70-30, 60-40, you know, you could be more attracted to women or more attracted to men, or you could be 50-50. For me, I'm more attracted to women. I always have been, but I am attracted to men. But I still more comfortably identify as queer because sometimes I'm more attracted to men and sometimes I'm, you know, it is, for me, it is fluid.
There's no numbers on it. You could have 10 years of fancying men, then it's just...
Exactly. Sexuality is fluid, and for some people it isn't, but some people it is. But I do believe it's the best thing anyone could ever do is be open. Not as in, you know, everyone's a little bit gay. That's not a thing. That's not what I'm saying. But just not put the pressure on. Like, I think in all things in life, there's two extremes. And I think naturally the progression of things is you go from one extreme to the other, then you have to find the middle. And I think the middle for this kind of thing is we need to take the pressure off, especially off of young people. Like what I try to do as a queer woman in the industry and as someone who advocates for that is anyone that has ever come to me and said, oh my God, I'm freaking out, I don't know what to do. And I say, take a breath. It does not matter the science or gender, anything about the person that you're attracted to. You're attracted to a person. If you find a label along the way and that's something to you, like a label matters to you, you go ahead and figure that out. But labels are not essential.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when we're discussing these things, you just think, oh, does it fucking matter? Like, you've not got other things in fucking, like, we're discussing what label you like your thing, and they go, it's like discussing what type of coffee. It's not a talking point.
But here's the thing, is that the reason that labels became so important is because people were being erased because of the fact that they were anything but straight. So that I think it's each to their own, and I hate the fact that sometimes it becomes too much of a blanket thing of, you know, labels and things like that. I'm like, some people will like labels because it makes them feel like they know themselves, they know their identity, it makes them comfortable. That's their way of being, self-aware. And for some people, labels don't matter. For me, it doesn't matter. It matters to me in terms of conversationally, I will probably say I'm queer or I'm bisexual. But beyond that, I really don't care. But if to someone else it matters, I will totally respect that. And that's what it's about, is about respecting what every other person needs identity-wise, and that you need to respect. Because,
Do bisexual people have to come out? Like, is there a conversation, or it's
Here's my thing. I'm very lucky, very, very lucky in the fact that my mum's gay. My mum is married to a woman. My mum's been with a woman my whole life. Not the same woman, but been with women the whole life. So I when I came into this world, I literally thought that was normal.
Fair enough.
Which it is normal, but you know what I mean? Yeah. I thought that was, I was like, everyone has two mums. Right. This is great. It was not the case. But I'm very lucky in the fact that I never had to come out. I'm a big advocate for, if you feel that you want to come out and that's important to you and that's freeing for you, do it. But make sure that you're safe, as in you're in an environment where you're not going to put yourself in a bad position.
Did you actually have to say to your mum at some point? Or is it just
no? I mean, I remember coming out to my dad, and then my dad went. So I've never met my half brother.
Coming out? Is there a coming out for you bisexual? It's not really. It's just no.
I mean, it is. I mean, it is coming out because unfortunately, the way that we have been brought up, hopefully kids now won't be so much, but the way that we've certainly all been brought up is that you're straight unless you say otherwise. Everyone likes
I suppose it's the default, isn't it? It's the assumption.
It's basically saying, hey, I'm not the default settings that everyone seems to think. So you do have to come out if you're bisexual. You don't have to, but if people feel that they may have to come out because it's not just them liking the opposite sex. But I think, again, it's each their own. For me, coming out wasn't a big thing for me. I came out to my dad, and I've never met my half brother, and I forgot the conversations we'd had about him. And I was like, yeah, Dad, I like women. And he went, Isla, what do you expect me to say? Your brother is gay. Like, this isn't a big deal to me. Like, okay, I was like, oh yeah, I was just afraid to tell you. And he was like, why? Like, we have, your brother is gay.
He's also, your mother is also gay. And so we would like, so it's not like he doesn't.
But here's the thing. And I think looking back, I was like, oh, I have to come out. Like, that's the thing. But, and I think if you want to come out and that's something you feel you have to do to accept yourself and to feel safe and to feel comfortable in your environment, go for it. I don't need to do that. I want to normalize that. And that's what I tell people, is that you do it whatever way you want.
Yeah.
And if you come out as gay and then 5 years later you're like, actually no, I'm bi or I'm pan or whatever, go for it. Like, it really doesn't. Pansexual, yeah. So pansexual.
Pan is in a cross.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So bisexual and pansexual are quite similar, but it depends because each person will say differently.
Yeah.
Pansexual people used to think it meant not just men and women, as in including trans people, but that's not correct, because trans men and women are just men and women.
Yeah.
Pansexual does mean just attracted to everyone, no matter what gender identity they are. So, non-binary people, blah, blah. But it's all a bit of a blurred line for me. So that's someone that feels, I can't speak because I'm not non-binary, but from my understanding and from people I've spoken to who are, it's feeling that they neither identify with being a man or a woman. So it's kind of just whatever.
That's pansexual.
No, that's non-binary.
Oh, non-binary.
So
pansexual
is a sexuality. Non-binary is a gender identity.
I still don't understand what pansexual is. It's bisexuality.
So
plus.
This is
like Disney
I guess.
Plus. It's bisexual.
Well, here's the best way to put it. From my understanding, bi means you're being attracted to your gender identity and one other.
Right. Yeah.
Essentially, because bi means two.
Binary.
Right.
Pan means more than two.
Oh.
But for me personally,
but what's the more than two?
So, I that's the thing. This is where I have questions now because
transsexual,
the way that I
isn't
grew
that
up,
just you're a man or the woman? That's whatever you
being
choose.
transgender is that's just, I mean,
So
I
if you're in a
personally think you're a man or a
relationship with a
woman.
transgender person, does that mean you're pansexual?
No,
No, I don't think so.
But I thought
not
that
necessarily.
was included in.
Well, no, this is the argument, and this is the point of people raise the point, which is very valid and very true, that you can't have a different sexuality just because you are dating a trans person, because someone who is a transgender man or a transgender woman, they're just a man or a woman. It just happens that they transition.
Yeah, so doesn't that sort of null and void the pansexual thing?
No, because this is the thing, this is where I have questions, but that people saying pansexual is not, pansexual means more than just your gender and one other, and that means, non-binary
But
and
then
blah, blah,
transsexual,
blah.
doesn't that... Oh, hang on.
No,
yes.
transgender, not
Transgender.
Transgender doesn't... That sort of null and voids itself because you are whatever you describe yourself as. So you're not a different...
It's about your identity, and I think it's whoever...
I think we're just at the early stages, so everything's very clunky
well, this
at
is
the
the
moment.
thing. We've come
We're trying
so
to put labels on
far
things,
with
yeah.
things, but I think this is why I literally say, I have so many questions about so many things, just because obviously I can only go from my experience. But I think one thing that everyone should take away is that whatever someone decides to identify as, you respect that, because that's what they want to identify as to feel comfortable, and that's who they are. It's none of your business.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite
It's not
honestly.
bothering. I'm like,
It doesn't change it's not a hassle for you. Like,
Yeah, to me,
it's not
it's like-
changing who you are.
yeah.
It does... It's like somebody make... Oh, sorry. It's like somebody
God,
having
do
a
your job.
conversation about like bringing up your star sign, and you go, well, "That's very nice."
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's not. I don't want to talk about your star
Well,
sign.
that's for me.
It's
I
not
think
my problem. What your star.
I think that it needs to start being a thing of, your sexuality, and is not like the first, for me, it's not the first thing on my list. I don't go, "Hi, I'm Isla, I'm bisexual."
Yeah.
Unless you're in that Robert Dias ad.
What's that?
Have you not seen this? Well, it's amazing. It's so well mean, and it's an official ad, and it's really well. It's one of those things that they probably thought up in an office. Well, this would be great, but it's almost what we're talking about. Is that they say, like, "Hi, my name's Bob, and I work at Robert Dias, and I'm straight. This whatever would be a great person for a straight person or a gay person." You're like, what? It's really weird.
It is. It's just they missed the mark completely.
But is it a comedy?
It's a real advert. But
they're not mocking.
No.
No.
But if someone told you, you would think if you knew nothing about it, you would assume it was a spoof.
Yeah, that's
I think they were trying to show they are inclusive,
Yeah.
but completely missed the mark. Like,
offend
completely.
everyone.
It just wasn't correct.
It's just cringy. You're just like,
I think someone was like, "Yeah, this makes sense on paper, yeah," and then they just it clearly wasn't written by
no, I don't think
by
so.
a queer person at all, and that's fine. But
It was a
wasn't.
60-year-old straight executive.
Someone just thought, "Oh yeah, we want to show that we're an inclusive brand. This will do it." It really did not, but
It also answered the question that no one was asking about, like, "Oh, is Robert Dias inclusive? Will they sell me a drill if I'm
so offensive.
I just think that is a case of people being like kind of using in the sense.
Yeah.
There's a balance.
Is it like
in
how in
everything.
Pride everyone changes their logo to the rainbow?
Oh yeah, it's become a massive commercial thing. I had a conversation with someone recently about that. It's again everything, finding the balance between representation and making sure that you let queer people know that they are welcome and that they are safe.
Yeah.
But also not using people's sexuality for a bit of money and then going bye.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm being horrible, but whenever I see that sort of out and out modern promotion now of look,
You mean
look
like
where
the Coca-Cola logo?
No,
changed
I
to
just
rainbow
think,
overnight?
where the F were you in the 60s?
But this is the point.
Because if you jump on the bandwagon now, if that bandwagon changes, you're going to go back the other way. So what you're doing is saying whatever. And by the way, they're all the last people in the room to agree. When the whole world has gone, it's okay to be gay. They go, "Oh, look, you go, yeah,
We were the
40
first
years
Hello.
one to say.
Yeah, 40 years later.
But this is my point, is that people need to remember that Pride was a literal, like, it still is. It's a protest. Yes, it's a festival and people go and it's a lot of fun. But companies are literally taking advantage of the party side of it and the commercialization of
awful.
it.
I hate
It is
it.
literally a protest to make sure that our voices are heard and our rights are still there, because our rights are still being are still trying to be taken away from us every single day. Like, just because we've made progress doesn't mean that, the fighting stops. You always want to improve anyway, but also you want to make sure that stays. I mean, being gay is still illegal in 70 plus countries and punishable by death in probably about a quarter of those.
It's mad, isn't it?
So, when people say, oh, well, why don't we just shut up about it now? Like, no one needs a Pride Month. I said, actually, it's still a protest.
Well, it's a little like with football, where footballers were taking the knee in protest, and then, everyone was going, oh, why do they need to protest? Oh, it's fine. Oh, we're not a racist country. And then in the European Championship finals, 3 players missed penalties. English players missed penalties. They were black, they are black, and they received the most.
It was horrible.
They were black.
Disgusting.
They
would have received abuse anyway, having missed the penalties, but obviously
it was something else to latch on.
Yeah, but it was what people said. People chose to not give them hate just because of missing the penalty.
Yeah,
it was specifically, but they decided to use
stuff that is unrepeatable.
So 3 black guys all missed the penalties.
Yeah,
but
the shocking thing is, in Australia, one Australian news outlet reported 3 black players miss. And that was their headline.
Exactly. And this is why I don't understand when people say, oh, well, we don't need to do that anymore. Just because the circle that you're in may not be actively racist does not mean that we need to just stop altogether. Also, we are all essential. I had this conversation. It was very interesting to have whilst I was still at drama school, how there's racism everywhere and everyone is racist. You may not be actively racist, or all white people, it's literally ingrained into us by society in terms of the way that society works and they've been brought up. Like, we have to actively work it's not about being not racist, it's about being anti-racist. We have to work to get that out of us. You can't just say, well, I'm not racist because you don't do the extreme that we know to be racism. You have to work to educate yourself to get those things, understand how society works, about a lot of things, about being, queer rights, about racism, everything.
The problem
you have
is
to work
there's
for
always
it.
the thing, the big devil still hanging about is mass media, who are actively seeking. So while you're talking about all this, everything's fair, you've actually companies, newspapers make money from making you feel the opposite. So you eventually have
which is why we all have to work to get out of us, because we've got everything against us, especially white people, is that we've been, it really is ingrained centuries back into us in terms of how society, even just how society works and it's framed, is around a lot of racist views. And that's why you have to you have to take time to understand that. You can't just go, well, I don't, say certain words and I'm not outwardly rude to my friends of different race to me. That doesn't mean that you're, it means you're not actively racist, but it doesn't mean that still isn't there. It's just there's so many conversations. Like, I have so much to say and also so many questions, because I can only advocate for or talk about
your own experience.
My own experiences.
There's a podcast I listened to last year, and they were talking about how things have changed. And they said up to, I think, the mid-90s in Hollywood, to get this, there was still only certain actresses that would kiss a black man on the screen. It would bring your cred down, in terms of Hollywood. Even to the mid-90s, they said there was only certain people you go, they wouldn't do it because it was seen as even in Hollywood, it was still built into the system of that's what it makes you look less. It's changed now. You can notice it now. But I said to you before, I watched the adverts play out, and I'd see them introducing colour, and it works everywhere. They do the same thing. They will never put they'll never start with an African man in advertising over the years. It'll always start with a white man, advert, modelling, whatever. They started with you'd have a white man and a slightly dark-skinned black woman, but with European features. Then eventually they'd get brave and they'd go to a woman with maybe who's black and African features. And now they've just got to the stage where they can have a black man and a white woman, but he's light skinned. They haven't got to the stage of having 2 black people yet. Like they haven't got there.
Well, you
but
think
it's watching it play out like this, tiptoeing across. Is it okay? Is it okay for us to do this?
In American media and in British media, like for 150 years, the black man is the boogeyman.
Yeah, so they're still trying to get rid of the echo of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys have found this. I've found it a lot. I'm a lot more critical in terms of representation now. Personally, for me, in terms of women loving women, representation in film, but in all of those kind of things, it's where is it that it's genuine representation and where is it that you're just ticking boxes. So I know for a lot of lesbian films, as you'd call it, there's a lot of, okay, well, who's directed this, who, in what gaze was this written, because in the past a lot of representation for women who are gay or queer or whatever has been from the male gaze, for the male gaze. It's been very sexualized, things like that. So it's this like good representation.
If it's like Transformers 7 and there's 2 women kissing, you go, I don't think you're taking this serious.
No.
Exactly.
Well, that was
my
criticism labelled at. I haven't seen it. I'm only kind of aware of it. Is it Blue is the Warmest Colour?
Oh,
and that was a film by a man, and there was a lot of accusations.
I mean, there's a lot of films. I make it my mission, as well as just my enjoyment, to watch these films. But I think it's important for me to watch these films so that I can
We'll see what they're doing wrong, if anything.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think there's I have great examples and not so great examples, but you can always tell the ones that were directed by women, especially directed by queer people, or queer people who are on the creative team. I personally think when it comes to actors, that obviously if you can get queer actors to play these queer characters, brilliant, because that's the ideal, because you've got people that really understand that experience and can connect to that more than anyone else can. But I think if you've ever loved someone, you can play someone that loves someone.
Yeah, that's always been, because that's a big
it's a big conversation. I think it's case to case, because for example, if you were doing a story where it really matters because it's about an experience that only gay people will understand, each case is different, but I do think that you should have queer people involved, at least. If you can't have queer actors, you have queer creative people, queer directors, people that can. You need people to come and say, come on now, basically.
Well,
but,
so we've been around the houses.
Yeah.
So we've done the racism. We've sorted all that out. Yeah. Hopefully the world's a better place now that we
fixed it.
It's just down to us 3. Honestly,
funny enough,
did it.
Things only change because of a million little things, and that's
ripple
just
effect.
Another. That's
Absolutely.
all it is.
That's the line at the end of, or I don't think it's the very final line, but in Cloud Atlas,
yes,
where one of the characters joins the abolitionist movement against slavery, and his father says to him, "Who is a slave owner and a trader," and he says, "You'll just be nothing but a drop in a limitless ocean." Yeah. And he said, and the son says, "What is the ocean but a multitude of drops?"
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I've always said, I remember watching Vanilla Sky, and I always had my little 10 things I'd written down that every human being should have tattooed on them that I'd figured out, that like important things.
Vanilla Sky.
No, and when I heard it, I thought, now nobody's going to believe. I haven't said it. I've written it down anyway. So now somebody's going to say I've nicked it from there. And it was that you can fake the big stuff, but you're made up of all the little things. Like Oscar Wilde said in his letters from Reading, he said, I'm here not because of the big stuff. I'm here because of all the little things I did every day that I couldn't fake. He did all the bad stuff with the sex and thing, but the big stuff, the theatre, and that was wonderful. But he's in jail, in a cold jail cell, because of all the tiny little mistakes he makes throughout the day. And they say in the film that there's no bigger things in life than the tiny things you do. And that's because the whole film is like he ended up where he ended up.
Yeah.
Not because of the big stuff, because he just kept making tiny little bad decisions.
Yeah.
And that's how you judge people. I say somebody can do something very, very, very small accidentally. That tells you who they are. You can fake the stuff in front of people, but the tiny little things you can't fake.
No.
So
the ultimate test of a person is
a quote. Go on.
No. The ultimate test of a person is just to see how they speak to waiters.
Absolutely.
Or waiting staff.
Or animals.
How they speak to animals.
Yeah, that would be particularly how they treat animals.
Yeah, how they treat animals.
I personally will speak to animals. So I think that's enough about me. I think that just says something.
Well, I say who you are is when nobody's looking.
Absolutely.
That's who you, and that is carried into who you are when you're around, because you know who you are.
Yeah.
And that eventually comes out. And the less original you are, the more it eats into you. And so the idea is to, because that's why most people they get to 60 and then become who they are, because they know, I'm going to die. I actually don't care anymore. Yeah. And that's when they start wearing weird clothes.
But
and
that's why there's so many issues in the film industry and things, because people, in the entertainment industry in general, is that people lose sight of themselves. And if they haven't come in with any kind of sense of self, you get lost along the way. And then you suddenly see people shaving their head and doing a lot of things that are questionable.
Nothing wrong with shaving your head. And on that bombshell.
Is that our bombshell?
So that was the show. So you've been on the Vialiucci period.
Yes.
So if you do become famous and everything's work out, just to say, we do own the right. You will not be able to ask. I will get an agent's email saying, can you take the show down?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you've said a lot of things here.
No, it's fine.
No.
I think, I'm
Have you done any
authentic.
visual interviews before?
I did one on Instagram Live. I've done 2 on Instagram Live with the same person, but it's never been like the full setup like this. This is nice. I was saying, I've always wanted to be on a podcast, so you've done it.
Well,
Look at that.
There we
There you go. So try and do well in your career. It'll help us out if you know what the numbers.
Oh, I will. I've got it. Don't you worry. I've got it all planned out.
Right. So there you go. So thank you very much, Charlotte. What's this? Hughes.
Hughes.
Where's Hughes from?
It's Welsh.
Is it Welsh?
It's Welsh.
Are your parents
We have Welsh in heritage.
okay.
I have a lot of heritage.
Where were you born?
In
What area?
place. In
Oh, you see. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
So you're going home. Right. So thank you very much for coming in, and we will end it there. Kerem, hit the
Thank
music.
you.
Cheers.
Here's your story, let's begin. The water's fine, come on, dive in. The future's here, it's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. Welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be alive.